day, my travel friends, and welcome back to part 3. No, that's 6. Part 3 of my travel series featuring hotels and hostels. And then today I'm going to be talking about Airbnb. Yay! So I'm going to go ahead and link part 1 and part 2 down below, and then also put them right here. So if you want to go check them out first, then go ahead and do that. And then if you want to hear about Airbnb, just keep watching because I'm going to talk about it. So. Alright, so Airbnb. I've stayed in 2 Airbnbs in my whole entire travel time, and Airbnb is actually really cool. So basically Airbnb is just you either like rent out a room or you rent an entire apartment from somebody, and you basically can get like that home experience, which is really nice, especially when you've been traveling and staying in hostels a lot. Every time I stayed in an Airbnb, I always had a really good experience, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you some tips that I picked up from other travelers that I stayed in Airbnbs with, so you can kind of, you know, nothing bad happens to you if something happens. Alright, so let's get into some of my tips about Airbnb. Okay, so I think the number one most important thing is always check the reviews. If you don't check the reviews and you see that maybe like that listing doesn't have any reviews, then probably don't stay there. Even if the pictures look absolutely amazing, you want someone who has had some experience with other travelers. So if they have any negative reviews, just keep that in mind if you do decide to stay there, because most likely that's probably going to happen to you. So just make sure that they're positive, because otherwise you might just be trusting your luck. Okay, so this is something that I found when I stayed in Germany in an Airbnb. Some of the places didn't have Wi-Fi, and you didn't know that until you checked the reviews. And so it was like, wait, what? Like, why don't they have Wi-Fi? But some places just don't carry it. You know, you want Wi-Fi in the place that you're staying at, you know, because a lot of the time, you know, you don't want to go and like sit in a coffee shop all day. You want to, you know, when you come home, you want to be able to check Facebook and stuff and do work or anything that it is that you need to do. But just make sure that it has Wi-Fi and it includes it in the price. Okay, so another thing was check the location. I remember when I stayed in Prague, the apartment was kind of out of the city, which was okay. I kind of got to see, you know, a different side of Prague and the way that, you know, Czechs actually lived. But it was kind of far. But it had pretty good transport right next to it, and so that was one of the reasons why I decided to stay there. But if you check the location and the location is way far outside of the city that you want to stay in, and public transport is really hard and you're going to have to take like Uber or cab every time, then sometimes it's just not really worth it. You just kind of have to, you know, check and make sure, and if you think that, you know, you'll be able to do it, then that's fine. But just make sure that you double check, and then everyone will be happy. Also make sure that your Airbnb has plenty of photos of the place that they're staying in. You want to make sure that at least like they keep it nice and tidy, that maybe you like kind of like the feel of the place. For me, I always really appreciate when owners have decorated the place really nicely and it looks super good and it's kept really clean. Usually you can kind of tell in the photos how it's going to be. So just check the photos and make sure you like it and you like the vibe and stuff like that, and then you should be really happy to go. So another thing is that if you have a really positive or negative experience in an Airbnb, leave a review for the host and for like the listing, just so other people know what exactly is going on there. If it needs to be clean, make ssure that you say that. Then the host can go ahead and make it better for other people. And then also for you, you have like peace of mind, like, okay, like I, you know, said my opinion and then I can just move on with my life. So those are some of my tips. I want to go over the pros and the cons of an Airbnb. So I think the pro is that you get to stay in a local apartment. You get like a taste of local flavor, and if you meet your host, then your host can kind of take you around. As great as hostels are, it is always nice to be able to say like you stayed in a local apartment and you met local people. So I guess the next pro is that you get to meet your host, which is really cool. Sometimes not. Sometimes, you know, they're business people and they're busy. Sometimes like they'll be super sweet. Like my roommate from college, she just came to LA and she's going to USC and I'm so happy for her. And she stayed in an Airbnb and she said her host was just amazing and so nice, and they got to chat over coffee and she's just so welcoming and so warm and friendly. So that's always a pro. You get to meet them. I think a big one for me is when you stay in an Airbnb, it's like a real home experience, which is so nice, especially when you've been on the road for a while. You get to stay in a whole apartment or in a house or in like your own bedroom with a bed that's nice, that like people haven't been sleeping in all the time. So I love that about Airbnb. You get to just kind of relax and take it off for a little bit and just be at home. Alright, so a couple of the cons. Airbnb, sometimes you don't really know until you go there. Sometimes on the listing they won't tell you that it's far from the city, or sometimes, you know, it might not be as clean as you want it to be. So it's just kind of like a surprise and a guess, but I guess it's like with everything, you know, sometimes you just never really know what you're gonna get when you're there. And yeah, just make sure you always check, you know, exactly where it is and what the public transport is like, or if you're renting a car, if there's parking spaces. You just want to make sure that everything is the way that you want it to be, and check the reviews and make sure they're all good, or, you know, if the bad things are, you know, okay, you don't really feel like they're gonna affect your trip or anything like that. Just always double check and chat with your host beforehand and see if they're friendly and things like that, and you should be good to go. Okay everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you have an Airbnb experience, please leave it in the comments below, and go ahead and subscribe to me and check out my other social media handles. I would absolutely love to hear from you. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Mwah. Bye!